Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over Ron best practices for remote online notarization for your clients so you have smooth settlements and you get more business. Now, if you're happy to see more notary content, please subscribe to the channel. We really focus our efforts on making sure that you can learn how to become an amazing signing agent, grow it to whatever size you want, and have that much better quality of life. So that's a lot of what our content is geared towards. And today we're going to cover 10 best practices to have very smooth Ron settlements, learning from me because I've made some errors and I've learned the hard way where things can get off track. So hopefully this video will keep you on track. And at the end of the video, I'll give you 3 additional Ron bonuses to help you get more business and have a little bit more expertise than most of the Ron notaries out there. So without further ado, let's get rolling. Number 1, practice a mock Ron signing. So how do I do that, Brad? So once you've onboarded with a platform or platforms of your choice, you have the option to invite yourself to a Ron signing. So logistically, how do you do this? So just make sure you have 2 email addresses. So as the notary, invite yourself using that second email address to notarize one document. It can be any document. And then what you'll have to do is you'll have to tag that one document when you're creating the new order. And so it can be an old deed, it can be anything. Just have a notary certificate, tag it, email to yourself. And the whole point of this is so you can open the invite and experience exactly what your signers will experience when they are getting that invite to a Ron closing with you. So you know exactly the steps from start to finish they have to go through in order to meet up with you to do the Ron signing. So you'll open the email, you'll read your cover letter and your instructions, and then you'll download the app if that's what you have to do for Notarize or Proof or whichever app you may have to download. Then you'll practice uploading the front and back of your driver's license or passport. You'll answer the KBA questions, and then you'll be connected with yourself. Now, you will be connected with yourself from the front end and the back end, so make sure your phone isn't too close to your laptop or you're gonna get a lot of static feedback. So probably a different room is your best option. But in the other room, as the signer, you can look at the document and sign the document and date it on your side. And then you can walk back to your laptop in the other room, notarize the document, and then you can pretend like that signer is your signer and you can instruct them how you would instruct them, which we'll get to later in this video. And then right before the end of the signing where you hit complete signing, you'll just hit terminate signing. And that way you get the practice of going through a mock Ron signing, both as the notary and as the signer, and you're not going to pay for that one transaction. So I highly recommend you do this at least once. Now, it's easier if you invite a spouse or a friend to go through this process to get additional feedback, but you want to go through it yourself at least once so you know what they're going to experience. So it's easier for you to walk them through that when they have questions. Number 2, confirm the appointment by the telephone, and you want to confirm with them, hey, this is Brad. I'm going to be conducting your remote seller signing next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely confirm the time zone because oftentimes you'll be doing this in different time zones than the signer is, so you want to confirm that over the phone. But ask them a couple qualifying questions. Number 1, have you ever done a remote online notarization before? 99% of the time that's no, unless they're an investor buyer and they buy often. And number 2, okay, great, no worries. Have you ever done a Zoom meeting or used DocuSign before? If they have, they're fairly tech savvy, then at this point, you're not going to have to do too much else on the call other than to remind them to make sure that they have their wiring instructions. If the title company requires, if you're doing a seller pre-sign, they have a proceeds form. Some title companies require they have wiring instructions available versus a voided check. So you want to confirm that ahead of time so there's no hiccups when it comes to fill out their proceeds form. So that's what the confirmation call is for. And then if they answer no, that they're not familiar with Ron, they're not familiar with Zoom or DocuSign, or they're just not admittedly tech savvy, that's fine. That's your opportunity to wow them with your customer service and let them know, hey, no worries. It's kind of like Zoom and DocuSign married together, where I'll see you, you'll see me, you'll electronically sign the documents, I'll electronically notarize them. I'm going to send you an email invite with the documents once I receive them with detailed instructions. This is the cell phone I'm calling you from. Please text or call me if you have any difficulties trying to join up with me at the meeting. So that's your appointment confirmation. Number 3, be careful when you're tagging documents. So what I learned when I first started was I used Proof a lot, or what was formerly known as Notarize, that platform. And when you tag a document for the signer to sign, and you just tag it signer signature above their signature line, the block size is a standard size. Now, what I learned going forward is that some signers will elect a signature they like the look of to be very tiny. Some will be very massive, and you have no idea if they're gonna pick a big old signature or a very tiny signature. The problem is that the signature is too big, there's not gonna be enough room to squeeze their signature on the appropriate line in the designated area. So to be safe, when you're tagging documents and you're tagging seller signature spots and you drag and drop it, I always personally, whatever the size is, I usually chop it in half. I drag it and shrink it down in half, lengthwise, or widthwise, I should say. So that way, if they pick a big signature that's, 24 font, even with that big signature, since I've already halved it, it's still gonna take up the line and not be spilling over too much and not be in trouble to get the document executed and recorded because it's all over the place, it's cut off, it's running into other people's signatures, etc. So that's just something I personally do that makes it fit nice and tidy. And if they pick a small signature, then it's very easy to fit on the line and no problems there. Number 4, detailed instructions with your invite with the documents. So on Proof or Notarized, when I send an email invite to the signers saying, hey, here's your invitation to our appointment this Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's a cover letter that I can attach. So I always use a very similar cover letter unless it's one signer or two signers, it varies slightly. And I'll actually link that in the description below so you can steal that if you want, or bits and pieces of it that you like. But it's basically very detailed and just says all the steps they'll need to do typically to be on time and to get the signing done and what they should expect. So the cover letter, very important. The more detailed, the better, because the better you can prepare them, the better off they're going to be. Number 5. Generally, you want to text the signers 10 minutes before the appointment starting. So starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, shoot them both or shoot that one person a text 10 minutes before the signing appointment. Hey, again, this is Brad, your Ron Notary. I'm here. I'll see you shortly in 10 minutes. If you have any questions logging onto the platform, uploading IDs, just call me or text me and I'm here for you. That way, number 1, it's a reminder, hey, we're supposed to be meeting, so that way they're on time, hopefully. And number 2, when they inevitably run into problems, they've got your cell phone. They don't have to dig for an email from last week. When you confirm, it's right in their phone immediately, and they can reach out to you. Next, save the ID photos. Now, in my instructions, you can always put in your instructions, hey, can you text me photos of your driver's license or passport ahead of time? I used to do that. Something else you can do, that I also do, is once they have joined the meeting, you're looking at their ID front and back and verifying that it's correct. What I typically will do is right-click and save the image as on my computer, Sally's ID or John's ID. And that way, at the end of the signing, I will not only send my clients the documents, but I'll also send them the ID photos, which they're definitely going to need. So you can snag them there as well. Whatever's easier for you ahead of time at the signing, either way works. As long as they're current, great pictures, that's what I would suggest. Next, remind them before you get going that 2 things. 1, that you cannot sign for your partner. So there's 2 signers and they're signing on one laptop or one desktop or one cell phone, which is rare, but usually it's a laptop. Remind them that signer A cannot sign for signer B. So when does this happen? Typically, if one of the signers is not tech savvy, they are just computer illiterate, or the other signer is just trying to be nice and sign for their spouse. Not okay, because this meeting is being recorded for 10 years and other people are going to view this meeting at different parts. So the attorney at the title office or the owner of the title company or the processor may review this meeting to verify that I did what I was supposed to do and that you do what you were supposed to do. And the underwriters for the title companies are not going to want to ensure that transaction if the signer signed for someone else. In other words, just like at an in-person signing, the spouse can't sign for the other person unless there's a power of attorney. Same thing with a Ron signing. This person has to sign for themselves, that person has to sign for themselves. Meaning, on video, it's obvious when someone's clicking, signing for themselves, and then doing the same for their spouse. So one spouse needs to sign, and then the other spouse needs to clearly use their hand and sign for themselves. So if you don't, trust me, that may come up later as an issue, so you're welcome ahead of time. And also, number 8, remind them that yes, this is being recorded. I'm sure you're okay with that. It's stored in my electronic journal in the cloud for 10 years. That way, if there's any issues, it's protecting yourself and myself, and it's being recorded. Just want you to be aware of that. I'm assuming you're good with that. And they always say, yes, I'm okay with that. Number 9, the very end of the signing. So the signing itself, once you've given that preface, you've sworn them in, you go through the signing as usual. You walk them through the Alta or CD, the rest of their documents. You walk them through the proceeds form. They fill it out. If it's a voided check or wiring instructions, if the title company requires that. In addition, you may want to remind them ahead of time in your instructions, like I do, this title company needs wiring instructions or a voided check. check, please text me, email me a copy of that so that I can provide that along with the documents and your IDs to my client so they can wire you the money, because some title clients will not wire funds unless there is a voided check or deposit wiring instructions, I should say, for that seller or sellers into their account with their name on it, because that is what they require from a risk perspective. Otherwise, they're going to get a check for their proceeds, and apparently nobody wants checks anymore. They prefer everything wired. So be ahead of that, be upfront on that. If you're not sure, ask the title client that hired you, do they need a voided check or wiring instructions, or is just filling out the form and notarizing it okay? So get that information ahead of time, less headaches later. And then lastly, at the end of the signing, once you've done everything, please double check your work, okay? So usually there'll be a ticker that says this many actions left remaining, meaning if the signers have missed a signature or you have missed a signature or a notarization block anywhere, a box to click, something will be remaining. However, don't assume that's correct. Just double check anyway, just like you would in person. Scroll to the top, check every document, verify each one is signed and dated. What's notarized is correctly notarized. Nothing is missing. All the venues are done. The stamps are there. Everything's in there. And then once you confirm, okay, we're good, guys, just as a reminder, once we're done, you're going to get an electronic version of these signed documents in your inbox immediately for your record. So remind them of that. And number 10, once you're completely done and the meeting is finished, send everything to the client. A lot of times as a signing service owner, when we hire notaries to do a RON closing, they won't send us everything. In other words, they'll send us the IDs and they'll send us the signed documents. And that's it. That's a problem, because with RON, we also need to see the audit trail and the link to review the meeting. So whatever platform it is should provide you those documents in addition to the documents that were signed as proof that yes, this transaction did take place. There's audit trails listing exactly when the signers passed their KVA questions, when their ID photos were approved and passed, and also when the meeting started, when the meeting ended, when they signed everything. So there's a trail of every single thing that happened in that meeting. And also there's an additional document that provides a link and a passcode for someone to review that meeting and watch it back to verify that everyone did everything they were supposed to do. And they're checking that to make sure that happened, and also that the signers are indeed the people that match the IDs. That's another way for them to check, to verify before they wire funds, to make sure no funny business has occurred. So provide all of that. So the documents, the ID photos, as well as the documents from the platform, the audit trail, and the proof the signing actually occurred, the meeting link. All that should be provided as downloadable documents when the meeting's done. Download all of it and email or upload all of it to your client's portal or their email, whatever they prefer to receive documents on. That way they've got everything, there's no delay, and they've got it all. So I hope that has given you some good background info on RON signings as far as things to do to have a smooth RON process. That's just coming from lots of learning lessons as a RON notary from places I've lost time or had delays for whatever reason or miscommunications. So please use these lessons, learn from my mistakes, and have smoother, faster RON settlements. Now, bonus time. First bonus up for RONs is electronic consent forms. Now, in Maryland, where I'm at, the counties all require that the signers that are signing the documents electronically also sign an e-consent form or electronic signature consent form. Just kind of basically from a high level says they're 18 years of old, so they're legally allowed to sign these documents. They're consenting to sign the documents electronically. No one is forcing them to do anything, and to the best of their knowledge, everything on this document is true. So it's basically an e-consent affidavit of sorts, even though there's no notary language on it. That's fine. However, one hiccup that I found is that our title clients don't always know this because they're not as familiar with RON because it's newer, and they don't always e-record RON or physically record RON documents or RON signed documents, often at the county clerk's office. So sometimes they'll forget to upload this form. So learning lesson for our signing service is that we always automatically upload an electronic signature consent form for each signer in a RON signing. That way, if our title clients forget to do it, they're covered, there's no delay. Now, as an individual RON notary, you should have that document if that's normal in your state. If you don't know, ask other RON notaries in your state that do a lot of direct business, and they can tell you. And if so, make sure that's saved on your hard drive so that you can provide that for all RON closings, so you show up as a hero for all of your RON clients. A nuance though that just happened this past week, one of my clients for one of the counties, when we went to record the deed for the sellers, we gave them the e-signature consent forms for both sellers, all the signed deed, ID photos, all that. However, the county rejected the deed because they still needed an e-consent form from the notary themselves. And if you read the language in at least Maryland's version of the form, I guess technically it would make sense for the notary to sign one and hand sign it and date it and print their name and upload that with documents, because they are also electronically signing the deed. They're doing it from the notary side, but they are also electronically signing the deed. So this particular county requested that form, so we had our notary just print that one form out, sign it, date it, and scan it back in, and that sufficed to get the deed recorded. So now we upload 3 e-signature forms for each signer involved and for the notary. So just another wrinkle. So just in case you may want to have that filled out for each transaction, just in case, so if the county rejects it or they start asking for it, you've already got it. You look like you're on top of it. Bonus tip number 2, you want to have multiple platforms. This may not be surprising to anyone, but not every platform is created equal, number 1. And number 2, if a signer fails the KBA questions, the knowledge-based authentication questions from their credit history, they're typically locked out on most platforms for 24 hours. However, if you have another platform you can pivot to conduct the signing, then you look like a hero because you've got that in your back pocket. Now, if they sign 2 rounds, or if they failed, 2 rounds of KBA questions on platform 1, probably likely they're going to fail again on platform 2. So my suggestion is have a second platform. Make sure that platform allows for biometric scans of their face matched with their driver's license or passport. That way there is no KBA questions. It's a great workaround if a U.S. citizen has issues answering KBA questions because maybe they're older, they have very limited credit history, or it's been a very long time since they've taken out credit. Typically it's either very young or very old to have this issue. And having that second platform with biometrics allows you to have a nice workaround for KBA, and they'll still present a secure closing because they're still scanning their face, matching it with their document and confirming that it is legit. It's a much better technology than probably your iPhone and face recognition where, someone that kind of looks like you, like your brother would pass. This is a little bit more secure on the back end because it has to be, but that's my suggestion. Have multiple platforms to be able to service your clients better in case things go wrong, or in case someone wants to do a foreign national closing, you have biometric platform capability, you can handle that, because to do that, it's a foreign national, they don't have a US Social Security number, so they can't answer KBA questions. The only way you can do it is if you're on a platform like Blue Notary or eNotary Log or Notary Cam, for example, that allow for biometric scan capabilities. And third and final bonus, marketing your RON services. So I'm not going to get too deep on this, but when you have RON platform or platforms under your belt and you feel comfortable doing RONs, start marketing this service. So even if it's for direct general notary work clients that are contacting you because you're dropping your business card off at FedEx, UPS, hospitals, assisted living facilities, or they're contacting you through your Google My Business profile because you're ranking well, because you've got reviews and a website and a lot of SEO that way, keywords that match well, people are reaching out to you to get things notarized, you can steer them to RON signings. Like, I can absolutely take care of that. We don't have to meet anywhere. I can literally just send you this request so we can get it done in 15 minutes just from your phone or just from your laptop or just from your desktop. And the nice thing is, if you do that, you can also charge more, because typically per state, at least in Maryland, where we can charge now $8 in 2024 per notarial act, we can now charge $30 for a RON notarial act. So there's a bigger spread there, which is nice because you need that to offset some of the platform fees and transaction fees. So if you're doing a power of attorney or a couple of documents for someone, instead of charging a much lower number, switch them to RON, and then you can get more spread there. And then lastly, if you're marketing or you have direct clients and now you're adding RON as a tool in your tool belt, this is such a game changer because you'll get so many seller pre-signs sent your way or cash purchases sent your way from your title clients because they know you are the RON notary, someone they love and trust, versus farming it out to a platform which is not anywhere near the customer service that you're going to provide, and they know exactly what they're going to get. So once you add RON to your tool belt, you can absolutely get much more, many more closings, I should say, at a much higher profit level if you already have direct clients. And even transitioning your general notary work clients to RON is a game changer. Okay, 3 bonuses and all the 10 steps to have a smooth RON settlement. I hope you got so much value out of this video. And if you love content like this, please help a brother out. Subscribe to the channel. We are growing. We just started November 23, the channel. So we are so thankful for the subscribers we have. We're up to about 272 as of this recording. So thankful for those of you that have subscribed. And also, if you didn't already know, we do have a wonderful offer to our notaries that have direct clients. So if you're not going to start a signing service and you want to get paid commissions every time your existing title clients use our signing service, anytime they have an out-of-state closing that you can't personally do, do, refer Superlative Signings to them. I'll link that info in the description below with my email. And we are happy to take amazing care of all the title clients out there because we believe that they should always have amazing customer service. They should be taken care of from start to finish. They should always be done right by. Look at our Google reviews. We take great pride in taking great care of our clients and providing a very consistent service to them, as well as working with professional notaries. And if you are a notary and you're just getting started, please reach out. We would love to add you to our platform and work with you. Superlativesignings.com is where you can sign up, or you can email us at team@superlativesignings.com and reach out, and we will give you directions from there, because we love working with knowledgeable notaries. And I know if you're watching this channel, you are one of those people that is investing in yourself to get more knowledge, to get more business, and to add more value to your clients, which I love it. So all the details are in the description below about our 10% recurring commission when you refer title clients to us as a signing service, as well as details about our signing service. So hope you've enjoyed the video. I appreciate you sticking around to the end. You are the 1%. And until next time, guys, I will see you on the next one. Peace.